What is up, beautiful people? How you guys doing today? Hope you are well. I'm coming to you today with a story time. I'm thinking about doing a series of story times, and just to kind of, some of it is going to be funny and awesome. Some of it is not going to be so funny and awesome. It's going to be kind of a little bit tear-jerking, maybe a little bit of what the heck was she thinking, or maybe a little bit of, man, you're brave. I don't know. It's going to be a bunch of different things, but I'm gonna do that. So I'm talking about the time I met my husband. We have been dating for we dated for a long time. I'm married now. I've been married for almost 9 years this year, but we've been dating for a very long time. And when we met, it was through actually a cousin of mine. She's more like an aunt, but I call her cousin because we're about the same age. Not the same age. She's a little bit older than me, but you get what I'm saying. So anyways, so I met my husband through this family member because she was taking a class with him at the time, and she was like, hey, meet my one friend, he's from Ghana and whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, so I at the time my life was very interesting. My life is very interesting, and it was very interesting, but I come from a home of divorced parents. They divorced when I was 11. Well, they separated when I was 11. Tried to get back together, divorced at 13. Wasn't the best situation, and I went through a bunch of that, but that would be another story time. I'll if you're interested, I'll go over that, but if you're not, then we'll keep it moving. But anyways, so at this time, I was taking the bus to classes and everything. It was a community college. And so, I used to hang out with my cousin all the time. And so, one day we got out of class, so we met him, my husband, and she was like, yeah, he's like one of the smartest people in the class. We were taking like, I want to say calculus or pre-cal, something like that. But, so I was like, man, I'm kind of struggling with the subject. Maybe I could use a little help. I don't mind. We can all have a study group. So when we met, very nice guy. Oh, maybe we can get together and do some studying together. And honey, okay. So anyways, but to be honest, at the time, my mind was not there. I would say 80% or 85% of women who are married to their spouses did not have the first interest, at least the ones I know. It was more like, oh, maybe the dude was feeling me, but I really wasn't feeling him. He's probably going to disagree with that, but anyways, I digress. So we exchanged numbers. Nothing really happened. So another time we met on campus, and I was like, hey, long time. So we just kind of hung around a little bit before our next classes. So finally, we started just chatting. We get off. I'd wait for him for his classes. He'd wait for me. We'd just hang out, chill for a little bit. And then, it just grew like that. The next thing you know, we were visiting. I visited his house for the first time, met my mother-in-law, his mom. And my mom was strict. My parents are divorced, but my mom was strict. She wasn't having that, okay? I couldn't even, if you're of African descent, even if when you're 50, unless you're married, you can't even mention boyfriend. And I'm not saying it's a healthy thing, but that's just us Africans, okay? So anyways, so I met his mom, very nice, love her. My mother-in-law is amazing. I don't even like the in-law because she's like a mom to me, but met her, and then we after classes we'd hang out. Now mind you, all this time it was just friends, nothing more, nothing less, just friends. So we had gotten out of class. He knew that I loved, I still do, I love Hershey's cookies and cream. I like cookies and cream ice cream. I like Hershey's cookies and cream. The bar, anything Hershey's cookies and cream is game for me, okay? So at the time, Oreo McFlurries had just come out. And the Oreo kind of tastes like the Hershey's. I guess it's derived from it. I have no clue. If you know, let me know, educate me. But I love Oreos too. But anyways, so he would get me these Oreos, and I loved these stuffed sweet cream pretzels, filled pretzels. So I would get those too, and I loved it. So he knew I loved it, so he would get it for me and stuff. So anyways, on this particular day, it was I remember the weather, it was a little gloomy. It was around fall. So he waited for me to finish class, pick me up and whatnot. And again, as I said, I wasn't driving, so he was driving. So we're going in the car, and he's like, we were almost at my house, like 2 traffic lights from where I live. He's like, so what are we? So I was like, what do you mean, what are we? Like, friends? He was so offended. He was like, so you telling me that, you know, we hang out all the time, I pick you up, I get you all these things, and we're just friends? And I'm like, innocently, like, yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? We never officially made anything, and at the time I wasn't really attracted to my husband in that manner. It was really literally just like, oh, we're just cool. So I was like, well, just friends, I don't know what's the big deal. So he dropped me off at home, and usually in the mornings he'd come pick me up, and then we would go off to school and then drop me back off. But the following day, he didn't do that because he was upset, I guess, by how I answered in my answer. And so I took the bus to school and had my normal activities. I don't know if I saw him that day, but then it got me thinking, you know, sometimes in the midst of a situation, okay, if your mindset was not really on the person, you know, and I'm talking about if you weren't physically attracted to the person, or it doesn't have to be a person, any situation, or that thing or person didn't really have your attention initially, and maybe something like this triggers it, then you get to thinking. So I was on the bus, and I remember that whole day, through my whole entire day through school, I kept thinking about, you know, the conversation that we had and his point. And as I thought about it more, I was like, I kind of like this guy. That's kind of weird, you know, I mean. So I was like, no, I'm not going to subject myself to that. I'm just going to chill. Love you, honey. No offense. But my mindset from my parents' divorce was, I don't want to be in a relationship, because the relationship that I saw my parents go through was not the best. And it really, really, you know, I don't know if triggered is the word, but it really, really opened my eyes to not want to even entertain the ability to be in a relationship, and even not to have kids. That's another story time down the road. But so, you know, it wasn't that I did not want to be in a relationship. I wanted to, but I was like, what's the point if we're gonna end up breaking up, and all these, you know, negative things that happen to people when they break up will happen to me. So then anyways, I get to thinking, and as I'm thinking, I'm like liking him more and more, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Oh, butterflies, what in the world? So anyways, I entertained the idea. So I tell him, hey, you know, it's all good. I apologize for how I came out. I guess I didn't realize that, like, I guess maybe some gestures meaning nothing crazy, like just certain things that you wouldn't do ordinarily for a friend. Not saying that you wouldn't buy like a friend Oreo McFlurries at the time, but you know, I realized that it wasn't just a typical like, hey, we're cool kind of thing. So I apologized to him, and I said, okay, well, let's see. We're not gonna rush it, but let's see how this takes us. And we started dating, and you know, it was cool and whatnot. Our you know, at the time we were both very young. I'm more adventurous than my husband. Maybe he's changed quite a bit. He's now probably more adventurous than I am, but back then I was more adventurous. I don't know. I mean, I don't like to generalize, but you generalize based off of who and what you're exposed to. But, you know, him being Ghanaian, like, he never wanted to try, like, Cameroonian food, because I'm of Cameroonian descent. But he never wanted to try Cameroonian food. He was super picky. He didn't like being around certain things and people. And I was just like, this dude is too bougie for my liking. Like, I'm just, you know, I mean, you could poison me back in the days. I could eat anything. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, so, you know, it was interesting and different, because he's actually my only true boyfriend that I ever had in my whole entire life. I never really, not say, like, I had like two fluff boyfriends way back when in, like, you know, high school or something like that, but it's stupid stuff, nothing serious. But he's like my one and only serious boyfriend that I've ever had in my whole entire life. And anyway, so the story continues. But so we just kind of grew on each other. You know, we did everything together. I mean, everywhere where I was, he was. Everywhere where he was, I was, generally, unless we were like, you know, with our families. Then, so I told y'all, I met my mother-in-law way before he met my mom. So, I'll get to that part, then we'll talk about more. So, on this particular day, now at the time, being 18, he was managing a store as a store manager while he was in school. And they had, I forgot what they call it, but whatever retail calls when they like redo or put things in the shelf and redo, like floor move or whatever it's called. Anyways, they had a floor move, so he was getting out late. And I asked my little brother to come into my room that day because, now we lived in an apartment. I asked him to come into my room that day because I didn't want my mom to come in to my room, or him to come into my room and be surprised, or my mom to come in and check on me. So I had him sleep in my room. He was younger. My brother and I are like, you know, almost 11 years apart. So at the time he was like 6. Yeah, like 6 and a half, almost 7. So my brother comes and he's like knocked out in the room. And so I called him. At the time we were dating, obviously, at this time. So I called him. I was like, hey, you know, what are you up to? He's like, you know, I had the floor plan today. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, can you stop by after work? He was like, but you know how, like, I haven't met your mom. Aren't you going to get in trouble? I was like, no, she'll be asleep. You know, she'll be asleep. No, we'll be all right. Just stop by. Let me say hi, see how you're doing and whatnot. So reluctantly, he obliged to my request. And so he pulled up. So mind you, we live on the bottom floor. And so my husband then, I was like, come to the window, because I'm not going to come out. Because if I come out and she comes to look for me and I'm outside, that's a problem. But if you come to the window, we could talk. And if she comes, then, you know, whatever. So he's like, but I could talk to you on the phone. Like, why would I want to come to your window and talk to you through your window when we could talk on the phone? I mean, I could call you. I mean, tomorrow we'll see each other in school. So I was like, no, but you know, us women sometimes could be a lot. So he comes over to the window. We're kind of talking. I open up the window. We're talking. And I'm like, come in. Just come in. I mean, we've been talking for like 5 minutes. Might as well come in and sit on the bed. Because I had my bed was set up like, so this is the window where the car window is. This is the window. My bed was facing this direction. And I had a little couch facing this direction, right? So he comes in and he's like nervous. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I can't stay too long. I can't stay too long. So we're talking. I give him a hug. Next thing you know, as I'm going to give him a hug, African mother on the door. Open the door. What's going on in here? Hey, Lord. So my heart skipped like 100 beats, because African parents if you're African and you're watching this, you know what's up. So anyways, I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman, like, what is the deal? So he freaks out and he's like, see, I told you. I was like, shh, stop talking, like, figure out, get somewhere. So I'm like, get in between. So again, my bed is this way and the couch is this way, right? So he gets inside the little crevice between the couch and the bed, but his head is facing towards the wall, and his feet are dangling, but we didn't realize his shoes were showing where it was, or like towards the edge where the couch starts. So I turned the lights off on purpose because I'm like, and the TV was on, so I was like, I don't want her to turn on this light. So she's like, it's just hot in here. It's hot in my room. Is your room hot? Let me check your vent. I was like, Mom, I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. She's like, no, but let me just come and check it for you now. I was like, oh my God. I was like, Mom, I'm okay. So my mom comes up in there, and so the couch was what she used to get to the vent. So she's coming. She almost tripped on his foot. She's like, what is this? I was like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. This woman is just going to kill me today. So I was like, oh my Lord, this woman is going to kill me. So anyways, she's like, who's that? So I was like, okay. I was like, honey, just get up. So, and of course I didn't say honey. I said, Cope, just get up. So he gets up, and he's like nervous. This dude is like shaking, sweating, like, oh my God. I wish I could have like had a camera in my room to take a picture of how this dude looked. He looked mortified, but I was more mortified because I knew as soon as he left, I'm not going to be like, it's going to be a crime scene. My mom's going to bury me somewhere and I'll never be known or seen ever on the face of this earth, because African parents are magic like that, okay? So then he gets up, and I'm going to continue the story. So keep on watching. If you keep on watching and you give me a couple likes, I will continue from where I left off. Anyways, y'all, awesome chatting with y'all. Have a wonderful time.